Hi, I'm Dylan.
I am Neil.
I'm Dylan.
And this is Youth on Subjects of the World, and today we're going to be talking about religion. So I guess we'll kind of first talk about organized religion and just like it in general, and then our opinions on it, and then we'll do the same thing, I guess, with like, because a lot of people like say, oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. So I guess we can talk about that too after we're done with organized religion. So I guess we should just like, I don't know where to start without sounding really biased.
I know where to start. I think organized religion is a sham, and I think it's really stupid.
I think a lot of it's a scam to steal money. I want to start off non-biased, but
Neil, it's a scam to steal money, suppress people, and put fear into the minds of people.
It says you can commit thought crimes. It says you can commit thought crimes, simple actions on your own, random things can make you burn in hell for all eternity. Also, you can be the best person ever, but if you don't believe in God, you're burning in hell for all eternity. You're like, oh, just stop. A lot of people are like, oh, that's Judeo-Christian values. No, shut up. That's most religious values. And so, yeah, organized religion, I mean, I don't want to sound too biased, but I'm not really a fan of it. And also, like
biased.
In the U.S.
It's not biased. It's retarded.
Yeah. In the U.S., organized religion is a lot of it. I feel like it's like, so you get tax exempt status if you're a religion and you're starting something, which is really screwed up. It totally should violate the freaking Establishment Clause of the Constitution. It doesn't. Apparently it doesn't, because it doesn't establish a specific religion. Okay, well, it established bullshit. So yeah, but so that sucks. Also, like, why the heck? Okay, if God is so all-powerful and so great, why does he keep asking people for shit? Like, oh, could you donate some money to the church? Why are these guys so broke if they're the most powerful being in the entire universe? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, can't he just make money appear like that?
I know, like why can't the preachers go, dear God, give me $100,000 bill, please, and then I'll wipe my ass with it and make another one. But no, they're the brokest anywhere. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. I think Catholicism is probably the one that's right, because at least they have a whole freaking country dedicated to it. Like, Jesus. Oh, but sorry, they are gonna molest your children, but they do have a country, so whatever.
It's like the other thing too is like if you don't believe in God, you're going to hell. Like, our God's the right God. Like, that's the most retarded argument in the entire world, that our religion is the right. It's like God's doing a pretty shit job. Like, it's like telling you that this is the right one. Like, it's they're just like Aborigines in Australia. They've never even heard of Jesus. Like, I'm sure they don't even know.
I know, that's so immoral. Oh my God, what if there's
they're going to hell? They literally have no knowledge of this even existing.
There are like some like remote islands, like in kind of like in the
why wouldn't God just like magically place the Bible there? Like, Jesus
never
went there.
And like they leave the natives alone, and these people are like in total seclusion.
Like, wait. Like, his sole messenger was his son 2,000 years ago. That's really not even definitively provable he even existed. To be honest.
There's no actual evidence that Jesus ever existed. Like, so Roman documents at the time, the Romans kept accurate documents at the time of all cults in the area, and there was no cult of Christ ever documented there. In fact, the only document ever mentioning Jesus Christ in that area was like hundreds of years after.
Yes.
So
and also it was really interesting. I learned that the same story with like a Jesus type story has existed 1,000 years before Jesus, like before it had the name Jesus. Like the Egyptians had the same exact thing, guy that was born from a virgin mother by God, and then he got baptized.
Also, why are these religious creeps obsessed with
virgins? He actually got crucified.
Jesus Christ, like all these religions are obsessed with like virgins having babies. Like, it's some fetish. God's a freak, all right? Yeah. God is a freak. God is obsessed with getting virgins pregnant, all right? God is obsessed with getting virgins pregnant. He's such a freak.
Yeah, he's God seems pretty freaky. Like,
yeah.
It's just like none of this stuff. People like religion. Honestly, gets people to believe in a 1,000-year-old book that's been translated hundreds of times, and the reason that it's never gotten mistranslated is because it's God's will that it will get mistranslated.
Also, speaking of mistranslation, I feel like Islam uses it as such a bullshit. He's like, oh, it's mistranslation. There's no way in hell you can translate love everybody to kill all the gays. Like, what kind of mistranslation is that? Like, the mistranslation argument is so stupid. It's like, oh, you have to learn Arabic, then you have to find this ancient text in a room. And like, they try to like move the goalpost every single time. It's like, oh, Islam's a great religion. Shut up, it's just as bad as the other ones.
If
Like,
not worse. If not
if
worse.
not worse,
Probably.
if not worse. Like,
And it's so
like-
odd how like the liberals in America protect the Muslims. It's like they literally are the least liberal. Like,
and
they have the least amount of liberal values.
neither Dylan and I are
And
saying we should discriminate against Muslims or any religion. We're just saying that it's a stupid belief, just like Christianity. The only difference between Islam and Christianity is that some people in Islam actually go out and carry out what their books say.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to my dad about this earlier the other day. I was like, you never hear of like Buddhist extremists going out in the street and killing people. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Buddhists are great. No, I don't know.
There's this one guy who's giving like a presentation, and he was saying that he was trying to debunk the thing that radicalism is the problem, because he was saying that if you're a Jain, Jainism is actually relatively common religion in India. It's like 3% or something, or 1% of people are Jains in India. It's basically Jainism is basically harm literally as little as you can, and try to have as little as a negative impact on the world. Like, they won't eat things like potatoes. You know, potatoes, you have to actually kill the plant to get it because it's one thing. They won't eat any potatoes or root vegetables because you have to kill the plant. They'll eat an apple because the apple, you just pick it from the tree. It doesn't actually affect the tree, right? So they'll only eat things like that. So obviously no meat, no dairy, no egg. So they're basically vegans, but they don't eat potatoes and onions or garlic, because all the things like you have to kill they're like one whole plant. You have to kill the entire plant to get the food. They'll actually wear masks so they don't inhale or like accidentally get in their mouth any bugs or any unnecessary air particles and kill any too much bacteria. Like it's so, and the guy was saying how the more extreme of a Jain you are, the less harm you do. Like, the more extreme of a Jain you are, the less harm you do to everyone around you.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, but the more extreme of a Christian, Muslim, anyone else, like it's like the only real difference between Islam and Christianity nowadays is that the people following Islam actually carry out like some of the things that their holy book says in their so. But yeah, so my opinion on organized religion, it's a lot of it's just a sham to get a bunch of people in power. And I mean, yeah, you can, here, you know what? I'm going to go through a text conversation. I have someone arguing about religion.
Oh my God, Neil.
I'm not going to say the person's name. I'm not going to give any, if there's any information in there that's like inappropriate or whatever, I'll leave it out. But I'm just going to say, because this basically generalizes all of the arguments that they use. Okay. All right. So basically we started, and so I basically was like, we were going to start arguing because we just met each other over text basically. And so I said, okay, why does God exist? Let's get started. Does God exist? Or I don't know. I worded it really weird. This is not why does God exist. I meant, does God exist? Or how, and prove the evidence. So first of all, the God we Christians believe is not limited by anything of the universe. The first verse of our Bible covers this. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The phrase in the beginning covers that God is not limited by time. God created the heavens. He is not limited by space and earth, nor is he limited by matter. He stands outside time, space, and matter. A frequently asked question is, where did God come from? Well, as this shows, God didn't come from anything. He's eternal. You follow? I'll only continue if you understand that much. So basically, when I saw that, I was just like, okay, like, I mean, it's kind of a stupid, like, okay, he's basically just saying, like, I swear to God, it's like a child playing a game. It's like, okay, my character is the best and can kill any of your characters, and you have to realize that because it will solve all my plot holes. And it's like, okay, all right, it's like, well, how did God do this? He's all powerful. It's such a stupid bullshit excuse.
Yeah.
It's like, he can do anything. He can do anything. All knowing. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, what an OP character. Created everything. Like, what the fuck?
Man, God is so OP.
God is super OP, guys. Yeah, it's like, so I was just like, okay,
honestly,
I get it.
Honestly, the all-powerful stuff, it makes him more evil, that he's all-powerful. Because if he's all-powerful, like the all-powerful is not a good argument to make God a better person, or to say that even exists. It's like, if he's all-powerful, like, can't he just, like he basically kills everyone that dies? Or you could just say, oh, well, God is all good. He doesn't do all the bad stuff. It's like, well, he's basically He's selected.
Also, what is with praying? Like, praying, if God's will is always going to happen, and God's will can't be affected,
like,
all-knowing.
What's with God's plan and God's will? It's like, they're two completely, like, contradicting things. Like, God's plan is, like, he has his plan for the entire universe. And God's will, it's like, he can do it at God's will. It's like, if he just, what's the point of praying if he has a plan?
If he has a plan, what's the point of praying? Because it's always going to happen, and God's will always be enacted, so then what's the point of praying? Also, why are there children, like, starving in the Central African Republic?
Like, and then you could just say, well, that's because he doesn't want overpopulation. It's like, well, you just make Earth bigger and give more resources to the world.
Yeah, it's just like, he doesn't, yeah, it's like, oh, free will. It's like, that's the argument for, like, a murder and stuff. Oh, God wants free will. Okay, genius. If there's no sin in heaven, but there's sin on earth because of a byproduct of free will, then there's no free will in heaven. And God clearly does, if heaven is a paradise, then God clearly does value, no sin more than free will. Otherwise, heaven would have sin because it would have free will. But because it doesn't have sin, it doesn't have free will because of the same argument made about it.
You could make that argument. You can make that, like, some people make that argument. Like, I've heard this too. Like, debating this is like, well, God wants to, like, separate out the good people from the bad people. It's like, well, God
will already know. He's all knowing. Like, what the fuck? And everyone's created in God's image. God made you a shitty person so you could go to hell. He created you to burn it for all of eternity. How fucked up is that?
Yeah, it even says that. I have it written down. It's in Romans 9, verse, like, 6 or something. And it talks about, like, God.
Also, what is with this Old Testament, New Testament bullshit? When was the last time an all-eternal being just changed his mind? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so stupid. I am eternal. I am all-knowing. I am... Change my mind. It's like, what the...
Oh, I messed up.
I screwed up. My bad, guys. My bad. Like, oh, come on.
Literally in the Book of Mormon, or, like, one of those New Testaments, it's like, oh, the Old Testament is irrelevant. It's like, God just changes his mind. It's like, I was wrong about that, guys. Sorry.
So, like, the Book of Mormon, there's this one line. There's this, like, one line in the Book of Mormon. It's like, it's like the song he's singing, I Believe. And it's like, the whole point is, like, it's a satire. So he's like, I believe that God lives on a planet called Kolob. Like, he sings that all, like, stupid stuff. And he says, and one of the lines, and I believe that in 19something, God changed his mind about black people. Like, God changed his mind. We just changed his mind. It's so dumb. Why does God change his mind? It doesn't make any sense. Also, yeah, but it's super stupid. It's super dumb. Also, whenever I hear these people make these philosophical, like, weird arguments for God, like these really, really philosophical, really deep arguments, first of all, almost all of them can be easily debunked. But when anyone makes these philosophical, deep arguments for God, it's like, okay, sure, but why is your God the right God? Like, why couldn't it be one of the older Egyptian gods, or why can't it be one of the other major world religions? Why can't it be something we haven't discovered before? Like, what is this bull crap? Like, well, what philosophical argument A, B, and C, like super abstract stuff. And it's like, okay, why is your God right? Because the Bible. It's like, okay.
And, like, people, like, it's so funny too, like, you know, I mean, I don't know if people watch this movie. It's a great movie called Religulous. It's not a lot of people do this, but it is awesome. It's by Bill Maher. And, like, he's, like, debating with these guys about religion, and then at the end of the debate, he's like, oh, well, then you're assuming that the Bible isn't truth. And he's like, yes, I am. It's like, people don't get that the Bible might not be the truth.
Yeah, so
Because it is.
it's so stupid. But oh yeah, and then this guy, because I was talking to, he goes on to say that like nature, like the world around us is existence of God. It's like, okay, this glass proves the existence of speaker. Speaker created this glass. I'm looking at a speaker right now, that's what I'm saying. But so
a speaker? What's a speaker? Like someone who gives a
my
speech?
God, you idiot! Like a speaker that plays sound.
Oh. That's so random. It makes no sense at
Because
all.
I was looking at a speaker and I was saying it, whatever. So I'll say, okay, look, water. No, what if I said this? Like, look, if you can replace God with anything. Like I don't know, Vegan Gaines was making this argument in one of his debates that I watched. Like he was saying, like it was in a religious person with a religious person. And it was like, look at all the world around you. It's evidence that God exists. Look at the world around you. The world around you is evidence that glass of water exists. Like you can replace God with anything. Like, oh, look, the world around you, the majesty of it is evidence that flying spaghetti monster exists. Like, what a stupid argument. Like, here's what this person said. So how can one prove God's existence? Well, you can look at nature through logic and determine for yourself. Think of our ecosystem as a puzzle. Each living thing is a piece of this puzzle. By some miracle, everything fits together perfectly. Now, for Christianity, faith plays a big role in our lives, but it seems to take more faith to believe that these pieces of the puzzle evolved from each other in a way that allows them to fit together perfectly at any point. That it does to believe that a higher power created them all so they all of them fit together perfectly. First of all, no, it doesn't, because the whole point of evolution is that it's been going on forever. Not even evolution, just natural selection in general. The whole point of it is that through the elements and through everything in time after time after time, things end up fitting together. So, okay. So here's something that here's what I argued after. Imagine a die with 20 sides. If you roll that die and it's 18 and you say, oh my God, I can't believe it's 18. It's a 1 in 20 chance it could roll an 18. How could this ever be a coincidence? But you could say that no matter what number it rolls. So it's just perspective. So basically the argument that I'm making there is that we can look at no matter what happens, like, because we can look, oh wow, the world is so perfectly put together. We can look at it from any aspect. If we lived on a planet called Gibbery-Doo and everything was different, from our perspective, we could still say the exact same thing. You understand? Like, no matter what position we're in, we can still say the exact same thing. So you could say, well, it's like a 1 in a bajillion chance all these things come together. Well, sure, it's a 1 in a bajillion chance all these things could come together in this exact way, but it's a matter of perspective. So any way you look at this situation, it will always be, so any way you look at the situation, you could say, wow, it's such a small chance this could happen. But you get that from any perspective. So if you take that into account, it's a 100% chance that you can make that argument 100% of the time. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, yeah. So, and even if you're right, you couldn't know. Yeah, Harris. And then he said, missing your point, there's an equal 5% chance of rolling any number. Yeah. But what does that have to do with what I said? And I said, and even if you're, the messages were coming in staggered earlier, but after that, forget what he said. After that, I said, and even if you're right and it couldn't be a coincidence, how do you know your God is the right God? And then I said, the point is that no matter what happens, you can look, and this is me responding to him about saying, I don't understand. The point is that no matter what happens, you can look from that perspective and say, there must have been a whole series of coincidences to get here. But if you can do that from any perspective, then there's a 100% of chance of a coincidence happening. And then he was responding to me saying about how do you know? And he says, because we have his written word of the Bible, and we know through, here's the kicker, science and history That's fantasy. Science and history. Oh, okay. Give me a second here. Science and history and literacy that it is truth. Um, um, in response to your first text, if the Bible is proof of God, is the Quran proof of Allah and Muhammad? In response to the second part of your first text, that scientific that what that science what's in response to your second part of your test, what scientific and historical proof do you have that God exists? Oh great, here's a big one. The truth of the Bible. The Bible was written over the course of about 4,000 years based on records and the like. The oldest written book of the Bible is Job. Is Job. Okay, that's what it is, Job, dating about 3,000 BC. The most recently written book is Revelation, about 92 AD. There are 66 books in total by approximately 35 authors throughout all 35 books across all 35 authors. Over a period of 4,000 years, there are no contradictions about God, Jesus, or anything relating. In total, there are 27,100 preserved manuscripts over the Bible that confirm what it says. So we know nothing was lost in translation over 6,000 years. There have been found rotting chariots. Okay, I would say rotting chariots were found in the Red Sea from about 5,500 years ago, the biblically documented time when God swallowed the Egyptian army in the Red Sea. Spelled with S-E, that was a mistake on his part. In our book of the Exodus, astrologists have found a day in the far past that is missing from our calendar, parallel to when God caused the sun to stand still for a full day in the book of Joshua. All 200 odd prophecies of the Old Testament were fulfilled 500 years later in the New Testament. At least 15 times in the Bible, scientifically advanced discoveries were noted, such as Earth being round and Earth floating freely in space, neither of which were proven until the past millennium. First of all, this is my thing. First of all, the section at the beginning of the text can also be said about the Quran. Moving on about Bible prophecies is really not a good argument because most of the Bible prophecies were fulfilled in the Old Testament, and a lot of prophecies were fulfilled were what we like to call self-fulfilling prophecies, along with the fact that some Bible prophecies that the Bible claims came true simply did not come true. Also, what you said about Earth being flat, we were able to calculate the circumference of the Earth far before most modern people think we knew the Earth was round. So, and he responded, throughout the Old Testament, there were 353 prophecies that foretold a Messiah and his works. 400 to 500 years later, the Messiah comes and fulfills every single one. If you're feeling reluctant, check out this list of prophecies Jesus fulfilled. You also should try to explain the missing day from Joshua, Red Sea chariots from Exodus, and other scientific discoveries confirmed in the Bible. And on your second text, even so, in the time the Bible was written, I would be impressed if they were able to tell that the earth was round or that it hung on nothing. I mean hung on nothing? It's such an obvious conclusion. If you don't, yeah, I mean, the obvious conclusion is that...
You've never gone to see the giant string, Neil?
Yeah, have you ever gone to see this giant string? Like, what an obvious conclusion to come to. Anyway, so again, most of those prophecies there seem like they have been fulfilled in a story. Most of those prophecies seem like they were fulfilled in a story. Like I went and looked at his stuff, and a lot of it was just bullshit when I looked at his link. Like, I don't know if he actually expected me to click on the link. A lot of it was just bullshit. It was like, a lot of it was just really trivial stuff. Like, one day Jesus picked his nose. 5 pages later, Jesus picked his nose. Like, a lot of it was that bullcrap. It's like, that's not a prophecy, asshole, all right? That's just saying what's going to happen. It's called lazy writing.
Or like, you know what's really insane? Like, a lot of Christians believe the Grand Canyon was made by the giant flood that God did.
Oh my fucking God.
And like they literally, I love the scientist guy was like, So how can you prove the horseshoe bend? Like a flood is coming up from the top. Like you couldn't, like it would just be a line down, like it would just be a straight line down to the, it would only carve out a straight line down to the lowest point, which would be the ocean. Like it wouldn't, it wouldn't like make a bend. Like you've seen like the horseshoe bend at the Grand Canyon. Like it's not like when rain comes down, it goes in a circle. Like it would have to be a river that did it. Like it absolutely is a river that did it.
God created a river, then that river created the flood.
Or like they even proved that a wooden boat could physically not be that big. Like wood could not be that big. Like a boat that big could not.
Yeah, they physically proven that it would not be possible for a boat that big to sustain itself with wood. But they have been fulfilled in a story and can't be backed by evidence or their self-fulfilling prophecies. I suggest you look up what a self-fulfilling prophecy is. It's basically just people see a prophecy and they fulfill that prophecy just because they already saw the prophecy. And I said, also there's this. And I linked, because he was saying that there were like chariots found under the Red Sea. And those show, that proves that like Moses divided the ocean and then it crashed on the Egyptians. And I linked a Snopes article, and wow, surprisingly false. It was not freaking true that was found. But it also took me like 2 seconds to research that. Jesus Christ. But
it was named in vain.
Oh, sorry.
Going to hell.
And then he responded, I'll give you that some of these prophecies may be self-fulfilled. Anybody could ride a donkey around Jerusalem and say they fulfilled a prophecy. But Jesus could not have controlled his lineage. His lineage was predicted accurately from Genesis, the very beginning. Jesus couldn't have controlled the time of his death, yet it was accurately predicted, like in the Bible, the same book that described his death? Like, wait, I don't understand.
Yeah. Look at this. This is a prophecy, and look at this. On page 98, it was fulfilled. It's like,
wow. It's so dumb. Like, maybe he meant that Jesus predicted his death in the...
I guess you're right. I can't...
Maybe he meant that like his death was predicted in the past, but again, the first historical documents that even mentioned the cult of Christ were like way in the future of it actually ever happening. So yeah. It controlled his own resurrection. It was predicted several times. Jesus couldn't control his own resurrection, but it was predicted several times. So using a resurrection, using zombie magic to prove it. Like, his resurrection was predicted and it happened. I have to prove the resurrection first, asshole. Like, I mean, the resurrection happened on page 94, so I guess it's true. Yeah, but he couldn't have controlled his place of his birth, yet it was predicted. Again, the same goddamn book. Again, the first document of like a Jesus Christ ever existing were way before way after his supposed death. And I said, this is what I said. As far as I know, despite what the Bible claims, historical evidence says that the first text ever written about Jesus was written years upon years after his death, despite what anyone may claim. He said, you are correct. Then what the fuck is with all this bullcrap about Jesus predicted his death and it's like the same book, like page 45, page 44. Jesus is going to die. Page 45, Jesus died. Page 46 of Bible prophecies. It's like, so he just admitted he's wrong. However, it was written by 4 separate eyewitnesses. Wow. Wow. Holy shit. Did you hear that? 4 people saw it. God exists. Anyways. Okay. And then I texted, excuse my sarcasm, but oh wow, 4 people saw it. Stop the presses. and then I added over 2,000 years ago. 4 people saw it 2,000 years ago, guys. It's true. Okay.
I thought it was funny too. I was listening to a great podcast about this all. And it was just talking about like Paul the Apostle. And it was really interesting, like when Paul like originally didn't believe in God, and then he didn't believe in the man named Jesus. He thought it was like all bullcrap. And then like I don't know, he saw like a vision, and then the way he spread the word about Jesus being real was he was like a leather worker, so he made like tents. they had like tents and sleeping bags and that kind of stuff. And it was funny. It's like the podcast guy made a joke. He's like, well, it's weird that you don't see any cave writings that are like, I met the most annoying tent maker in the entire fucking world.
This guy's a real dick. By the way, there's this cute little redhead down by the morgue.
Stop trying to steal George Carlin's jokes.
George Carlin's jokes, yeah. I've only stolen 2 so far. Anyways. But then I say, also, have you ever played the game Telephone where you whisper something in your friend's ear and then it goes around a whole circle of people and it comes back to you and it's distorted? Yeah. Imagine that times 2,000. I think that was a pretty good analogy.
More than 2,000. It's not just years. It's millions of people. Billions of people. And then also in different languages. Hundreds of different languages. Ancient Aramaic. There's not as difficult. Like, try translating. It's almost impossible to translate Harry Potter over one time for 10 years between 10 languages. It's almost impossible.
Yeah. That being said, that's not a justification for the whole Islam argument about it was mistranslated, because I don't think there's any way to mistranslate something so specific as love everybody to when you see a gay person, throw them from the highest place possible. How the fuck does that get how?
And anyhow, that's irrelevant. People believe that.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
Even if it was mistranslated, okay.
Even if it was mistranslated, and they're right. There are people that believe that.
Even if it was mistranslated, one, Islam is not, still doesn't exist. Number 2, people are throwing gay people off of buildings still. Anyways, actually,
you see, there was that country where they whacked these gay people with they 100 beatings with 100 beatings with a cane.
Oh, I saw that, and I think it's a good idea. There are consequences. It's what the hell?
These are a lot.
What country was that?
I forget. Who actually, it's not a tiny percentage. That was a huge crowd.
Yeah.
Who all believed I was really.
It was a caning. Today. Public caning.
What? How crazy! A public caning.
Yeah, what the fuck? We live in the 20th.
People think we're progressing.
Guys, it is current year. Okay, this is unacceptable.
This is 2018, and people are getting caned.
I know, it's so dumb for being gay. You stuck your pee-pee someplace we don't like. Caned. It's so dumb.
It's so odd too. In all these religions, God cares so much about sex.
Okay, I need to screen share this one guy. But don't say anything because you know what I'm going to show. But I'm going to screen share it. It's so funny.
It's people hate gay, just sex in general, straight sex, really. You really can't.
I know. It's God.
You can't protected
God
sex.
puts. Oh my God.
Jewish people actually believe.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say.
No anal.
I'm going to say something really, really lewd. But this is a joke that this YouTuber that Cult of Dusty made. It was a really funny joke. He was saying, he said, all right, so this is his, I'm quoting now. So quote, God puts both your hands right next to your fun stick and expects you not to fuck around with it? Really? I mean, it's so dumb. And then he's like, go to hell for all of eternity. Also, I made you in my image, so I basically made you to be gay. But if you're gay, you're going to hell.
Neil, what are you talking about? Being gay is a choice, obviously.
I'm so sorry. Being gay is a choice. You're right.
It's fuck, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's so.
And it's you can't have unprotected sex. You can't pull out. You can't have anal. You definitely can't be gay.
No.
And
no.
What's the other one? Oh yeah, no jerking off. Who the fuck cares? Why does God care about all those things? And just be honest. It's all about control. It's just control. Control this, control that, control you, scare you. I've realized from all my friends that go to college and their parents trying to get them, and they're scared they won't get in. It's being scared takes up way too much time. Being afraid is it's not worth your time, man. And I realized that I figured that out. It's just being scared it's not worth your time, and it's useless. I'm being scared about work. Sometimes I'm anxious about stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no reason to be afraid of it. And fear just takes up too much time and energy.
Yeah.
And religion has gotten really good at that. And people are already, like, predisposed to fear. Like, predisposed to wanting to be scared of things. And religion just is like, oh, max that up. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it pisses me off to no. And then it makes people believe, like, their kids will be cured from cancer by praying. People believe that. Like, that's, like, borderline evil. That, like, you're basically killing your child. There's no evidence. The great thing about science is that it can prove everything. If God existed, it could prove God existed. God would probably want to know everyone he existed. Everyone, like, because it's like, he's like, if God exists, he's like a dad that just kind of told you to fuck off and, like, went on his life. Like, it's like a dad you never met, even if he does exist. Like, a Christian God, like, he seems like a pretty shitty dad. He just puts you on this earth. He, like, screws you over a bunch of times. He probably gave you shit parents, you know. Like, you can't jack off. Like, that's you go to hell. Like, Neil, you gave a great example to me the other day. It's like, you could have, like, two amazing people like, well, Neil, you give the example about the couple and the robber.
Right. Okay. So imagine this couple. They're walking down the street, okay? And this guy walks up to them. This guy walks up to them. Let's say he kills the husband, or no, he rapes the wife. He rapes the wife, kills the wife. The husband's a Christian. He rapes the wife and kills the wife and kills the husband. And then on his deathbed, he accepts Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. Then he has to go to heaven with the husband of the woman that he killed and raped. And because that guy was Christian, and they can't hate each other because there's no hate in heaven. There's no sin in heaven. So they're forced to love each other. The person and the wife burns in hell for all eternity. What the fuck?
Yeah. Like, all of it, God is, like, a Christian God is so unethical. Like,
right, so I just want to show everyone something. I'm gonna real quick share my screen.
Okay.
Here's the share button again. Here we go. Right. So can you see?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not my actual location. Creep's trying to find me. It's actually moving a bit. No, it's not. I guarantee you, I'm not in Indian Spring Country Club.
Yes, he is.
Oh my god. Okay, but I live in, what the frick?
He lives right there.
But I live, so this South Jersey, all right? All right? I'm gonna show you exactly where Dylan lives. Okay, but so this is South Jersey, all right? Where Dylan and I live. Zoom out. This is the state of New Jersey, all right? This is the state of New Jersey, okay? Goes out some more. Okay. This is the United States of America, all right? Right? This is planet Earth. Really shitty, really low quality. This is our solar system, okay? Pretty huge. It would take us years to get to the edge of our solar system. Our farthest probe ever, I think it was New Horizon, has only gotten just a teeny bit away from our solar system. It's been around for decades. Our local solar system interstellar neighborhood, the closest star system to us, Alpha Centauri, is light years away from us. Years, at the speed of light. So far away. So massive. Do you know how long it takes us to get anywhere, even close to Alpha Centauri? We're not even at light speed. It would take us probably like 100 years to get to our closest interstellar neighbor. And this is our entire neighborhood. The Milky Way galaxy. It is so massive. There's a black hole at the center of it. There's a theory about galaxies where everything revolves around this super massive black hole. This is a massive endeavor. To travel from even a 1,000th of the width of the galaxy would be probably take a lifetime. hundreds of thousands, I think, of light years. I'm pretty sure. I can look it up later. But a local galactic group. Imagine the Milky Way galaxy times 20 and then times 100 for the distance between them. The Andromeda galaxy is how many light years away? I don't know. A lot. It's a lot of light years away. I think Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across. And the Andromeda galaxy, it's so many light years away. It would take so many human lifetimes. At the speed of light, it would be impossible for us to get there in even a small, reasonable amount of time. The speed of light. The Virgo supercluster, a supercluster of galactic clusters. It's massive. There's a reason they call it a supercluster. We can't even comprehend this. You will not ever be able to comprehend the majesty of this, okay? You cannot. Your human brain, your petty human brain cannot comprehend this. Our local superclusters. Imagine the Virgo supercluster as a speck here. This is a speck, okay? A speck. The Virgo supercluster is so small in this, and your tiny human brain, your tiny monkey brain cannot comprehend this. Neither can mine. No one's brain can comprehend this. It's so massive. This Virgo supercluster, this every single dot is a massive galaxy, and then clusters, and this is the observable universe. Everything, literally everything is here. It's impossible to calculate. This is not even everything that there. Imagine every dot there is another local supercluster full of another Virgo supercluster with another local galactic group, with another galaxy, with another solar system, with another local solar system, with another external neighborhood, with another solar system, with another planet, with another country, with another state, with another region of the state. Okay? And that's every dot times it forever. And then there's of course the cosmic background radiation, which is the universe is still expanding. Then of course there's the infinite nothingness outside the universe. And then of course Jesus saying don't masturbate. Jesus is saying don't masturbate after all of that. So I really like that. So after all of that, Jesus like just go masturbate, dude. Because that's clearly a priority there. But yeah. So like oh my god, it's so stupid.
That's pretty funny, Neil. Go masturbate. The thing about like all the aliens too, like other life forms, it's like dude, it's like, wonder if they have their own version of Jesus. Maybe Jesus has it.
Alien Jesus.
Alien Jesus.
It sounds like a joke.
It's like God has done a shitty ass job at showing everyone that he exists.
I know. Like, oh my god. If you look at like these
if he's all powerful, he should be able to be like
there was this video like top 10 reasons like Allah exists, and it was so pathetic.
Top 10 reasons Allah exists.
It was like it showed a picture of a tree. And it was like it was like whoop whoop whoop, and it was like this tree is praying. This tree is praying. He's in the praying you have to do. It's so amazing, bro. He's like this. That's exactly what we have to do. We have to. It's like okay. You know what? Dylan, do not respond. Give me 1 second. Just 1 second. 1 second. Do not say anything. I've got some.
So no.
1 second. Excuse me 1 second. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen again. And oops. I'm going to share my screen. And yeah, so here's some wonderful images that God has made of our trees. Of course, he's showing us he exists. Like this wonderful one here. You can see all these wonderful trees. As you can see, God, I like this one. God exists, as you can see. Whoa, it does not let me full size the image there. That's weird. God exists. As you can see, I found a weird tree. So let me just look up add weird tree. I looked up weird tree. Weird tree. As you can see, God is a demon. This is proven. What the frick is wrong with full-sizing images on this thing? As you can see, God is a demon. It proves it. Yeah. Oh, this one. God. I think God's a freak. I think that's what this proves.
I think another thing me and you were talking about is like if God, all-knowing. That's the difficult thing about God is that he knows he's all-knowing. It's like
God knows what it's like. Okay, I don't want to be too.
You can say it, Neil. You can say it.
God knows what it's like to. All right. Okay.
Snort crack off a hooker's ass.
Yeah, just take a line of crack, take a line of cocaine off a hooker's ass crack. I'm just saying, all right? Like, I know it's like really new, but it's true. Like, God, you can't be gay, you can't masturbate. God knows what it's like to masturbate 1,000 times a day, every single day for eternity, because he's God and knows everything.
He does know.
That being said, he also knows what it's like to cut off his penis with a pair of scissors and then sew it back on.
He also knows what it's like to be entirely evil. And
because he is. That doesn't take all-knowing, though. One second, I'm going to turn my light on.
See, I actually have light today, Neil.
That's better. But it's so we should move. I think we should move on now from organized religion to like spiritual.
I'm not religious. So
I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. Whenever I hear that, I'm just like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Like, complete nonsense.
It's complete utter bullshit. It's nonsense. It's verbal diarrhea because they intentionally keep it so fucking vague that.
Oh, that's what she said.
What? Intentionally? That's what she said joke though.
They intentionally keep it that big.
Vague?
It's vague, but it works. It's close enough.
No. I don't even, I'm so confused.
Oh, you're stupid. All right, keep going.
I don't think you know what the word vague means anyways. So the intention keep it just so vague. Like, I'm spiritual. There's something else. Like, what the, like this verbal diarrhea. Like, you know what? Again, you do you. As long as you don't hurt anyone else, you can do whatever you want. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk about our opinions on things. But it's so that this whole spiritual thing, like, you know what? I can understand to an extent, like, if it helps you get through, like, day-to-day life, like, just because, I mean, because people ask, like, all people who are like, oh, I don't, or people always ask, people all the time, like, oh, what do you think happens after, then what do you think happens when you die? It's like, fuck if I know, I've never died before. Like, what is with this, like, high and mightiness of these people trying to act like they know what happens after death? Like, no one knows. Like, why are it's so dumb. Like, you know, trying to find the answer, fine. But saying you know the answer, really, like, how arrogant are you?
Yeah, well, I think what we're arguing for is just saying, like, I don't know.
I have no idea, all right? I have no idea.
These things are retarded.
And all the excuses are absolute bullshit, all right? And the whole spiritualism thing, I honestly don't, the spiritual not religious thing, I think it's just like a coping mechanism that we don't know. I think this whole spiritual but not religious thing is just, it's a bullshit excuse. And if you want to do your bullshit excuse, that's fine. It's not harming anyone.
It's just a bullshit excuse to, like,
it's if you're part of an organized religion and you're not harming anyone, great. But you're more likely to harm some or making harm the world because you're actually paying into an institution. But just being spiritual,
it's not only that. It gives people a false sense of what is true. Like, yeah. And it makes people believe that.
I think the truth is a moral imperative to an extent.
God will control it.
Like, I think the truth is a moral imperative to an extent. Like,
it's dangerous. Americans are voting for people who don't believe in evolution.
Yeah, that's
they're voting for this. They don't believe in evolution, and they believe destruction of the world is imminent. Americans are the highest the highest percentage of the Western civilized world who believe, like, we have the highest percentage of people who believe the doom of the world is imminent, as well as the highest population. I think right above Turkey, or no, we're below Turkey as far as countries that don't believe in evolution. Like,
yeah.
gee, oh my God, like, this is just insane, like insanity. And I think it's bad that people are putting these people into a place of actual power.
Thankfully, I think evolution is now being taught in schools. Like,
oh wow, great.
like, but like there were people saying, so another group, honestly, almost as stupid as people who are teaching like creationism in schools who want to, but people say, oh, teach the controversy, like on face value that seems cool, right? Oh, just teach both sides. But if one side has literally no scientific arguments and their argument is we're right because this book says so and it will never change, but sometimes he changes his mind and whatever he says goes. So fuck you, we're going to do what we say. Like that's not an argument, right? So you can't like, if I say my phone is the Lord of all and, oh, you want to teach that my phone is not the Lord of all? Yeah, just teach the controversy, all right? Just teach that it's a controversial subject and we don't know, and there are two sides. It's a giant middle ground fallacy is what it is.
Yes, I concur.
Yeah.
I concur.
Just because it's the middle ground doesn't mean it's right. If I say you should murder people and then someone says you shouldn't murder people, you don't have to just teach the controversy. It's so dumb.
Yes. It just pisses me off a little bit that people even believe this stuff. Or like, this is like so stupid. And it doesn't ever stop for me because people, like so many people believe this stuff and it's so indentured in their mind. It's like, and then like I'll have this debate like with my neighbor. She's old and she's very religious. She's not very religious. And then, but I'll talk to her and like I'll get her down to this point. I'll grind her down, like you know, it's like it's arguing with someone that believes in a 2,000-year-old book about a man who listens to billions of murmurs every day. It's not that difficult to beat in an argument, and it boils down essentially to like, oh well, I just have faith. Like it's just my faith. But then it's like, I was like, all right, you can be content with lying to yourself, I guess. I'm like, but I was like, is it really good to have faith in something that you pretty much you cannot explain in any other way besides you say, I have faith.
Yeah, well, that's what faith is. If they had evidence, it wouldn't be faith.
I know, it's just like so like, but is faith a good thing? Like faith
No.
isn't a good thing.
The fact that people are proud of faith, you're proud of ignorance. Stop. Like.
Yeah. I'm proud of not giving a shit. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, I am proud of not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, whatever, like, I swear to God, there's like a scientific whatever, and it was like here's this study that proves blah, 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 blah. It's like the guy on the opposite side goes, I have faith and I am proud. They'd laugh him off the stage.
It's just like the whole faith argument's so retarded. But honestly, it's really not that difficult to beat someone in a debate like this. And there are other arguments like, well, you can't prove he doesn't exist. It's like, it's a complete nonsense argument. It's like you can't prove that there's not a unicorn behind you that you can't see in cameras and whenever you look behind you.
Yeah.
You can't prove that.
Whenever I am not looking, there's a purple unicorn behind me and no one else can see him because he's invisible and he talks to me in my sleep and he makes love to me. And you can't prove that he doesn't exist, so...
He exists.
Yeah.
It's absolute 100% nonsense garbage. But, like, this wouldn't be a problem. I don't have a problem with little kids believing in fairy tales. I don't care. But the problem is that it's not just a few kids. People don't grow out of it. They die believing this stuff. It's just crazy. It's
if you just wanna, like, people are like, oh, why don't you just leave you alone and have them believe? Well, first of all, we're not forcing it down on anyone, right?
And also, like, you could say, like, oh, what's your problem? Like, just leave me alone if I want to believe my crazy stuff. It's like, no, but it's not good because you are someone that can, like, vote. You have a voice. Other people believe you.
Like, all your decisions are based off of this. If this is truly the one biggest, because this is what's going to happen to you for eternity after you die. This is clearly the biggest, like, we should be asking our elected officials what their faith is. We should be, because it's an important thing what these people believe. And also, not to mention, and you know what, if you don't, and you're just like token bullshit, you know what? Fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to leave it, but I'm fine. If you just want to do your thing and like don't harm anyone else, I'm fine. All right. But the problem is that people, it's a lot easier to harm people with religion than people actually think. Like voting for someone because they have a certain religion or believing certain things that have a certain religion, it lowers the quality of public discourse and it lowers the collective human consciousness. And also, third, I believe the truth is a moral imperative. I believe it is a moral issue to know the truth in certain circumstances. So I think it's immoral to just, I'm not saying you should share people's sources, but I think it's in a way immoral to spread lies. I think we can all agree on that.
Yes. It is very immoral.
I mean, but if you're like, that's why I don't really have that many qualms with the whole spiritual but not religious thing. It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. It's just a bunch of buzzwords. It's just a bunch of buzzwords. But you know what? At least if you're spiritual, not religious, you're not actually going into an institution and supporting it, and you're most likely not spreading lies.
Yes. Definitely.
Also, you're not following like this old doctrine that promotes hate.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, it seems like a lot of these spiritual people's minds, that's like, none of it has anything to do with forcing on other people. Like a lot of Catholics believe that their sole purpose is to make other people believe in this, which is that's so cultish. Like a lot of it, like people do not like to believe that Christianity is a cult. It's absolutely cult. There's like all of it's a cult. I mean, Christians, Muslims, Jewish people, Judaism. It's all cult. No, like there is no exception to it. The whole goal is to get more people into it, more people believing it, to have control over their lives and to what people wanted them to do. And honestly, I think this is like probably a cult, thousands of years ago that just never stopped and the leaders just died out. Yeah. Most likely. The whole, like, it has good intentions to start with. That's the interesting thing about a cult is that it has good sides to it. Scientology has good sides about it. That's how people get into it. Because, like, the first 10 years is just good stuff. It's just, like, it's obvious things, just getting rid of the bad. Like, the core concept of Scientology when you first get into it is, get rid of the bad thoughts you have in your head. These are the bad thoughts. You don't want them to be there. Like that's a good belief to have. Not that you don't want to be focusing your time on bad thoughts about other people. That's not a bad thing. That's an overall really good thing. If everyone thought that would be good. And then you get into the thing like, oh, these bad thoughts, they're dead alien souls. Like, fuck. Like, oh, it's like, oh, here we go again. It's like, it's just stupid. And that's the interesting thing about cults is that a lot of the times they have really good stuff. Like, Catholicism has some good stuff. Like, be kind to people. I mean, it can all be interpreted. Everything in the Bible can be interpreted. Like, you have the Westboro Baptist Church. They truly believe that they are doing what God wants them to do by helping, like their argument, I'm not saying it's true, and I'm not saying what they're doing is good, but their argument is, like, in the Bible. When
the Westboro Baptist Church, they actually do what the Bible says.
Yeah. It's like at least in theirs, they say, like, they interpret it as, like, what is it? Oh, yeah, love thy neighbor. And then the first time I talked about it, it's like if you see your neighbor sinning, you're just as bad if you stand there and do nothing about it. So it's like they see that and like, oh, my God, everyone else is defying God. They're trying to do all this crap stuff. Like, they're going out there. People are having sex with other men. Like, oh, we got to stop this because people are going to hell. Like, we don't want people to go to hell. And like that's the whole argument. It's like, all right, I guess if that's what you believe. And it's funny too because people trying to do these protests against the Westboro Baptist Church, they think everything that happens to them is perfect because God does it. Like, they built like, I don't know, these people built like a rainbow house right across the street. Like they bought a house and made a rainbow of it. They literally could not care any less. It just doesn't matter to them. God does everything. So that's an amazing thing that they did. They believe that that is an amazing thing. They just think it's just people being stupid. Like, they don't care. They take the Bible as complete truth. It's like, that's the, like, crazy thing. Is that literally nothing matters to them because everything that happens ever is God. So, you know, everything is perfect. Do you have anything to say, Neil?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of exhausted all the things we had to say. I mean, we're only an hour in, but...
Well, we can try and go for a little while. We don't have to do the full 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's more difficult to do the full 2 hours when it's just us.
Yeah.
For a long time.
I mean, I just want to like drive on the point. Like, we're not like, no one is personally insulting you because of your beliefs, first of all, and that's what we're not doing that. And second of all, you can believe what you want to believe as long as you just believe what you want to believe. I mean, it's not, as long as you're not affecting anyone.
But you got to take it into account.
But you have to take into account that affecting anyone is actually a lot easier to do than you think. Buying into an institution affects people. Lowering the public consciousness, the consciousness of the public, does affect people. And lowering the quality of civil discourse, because it brings it back to like the Stone Age, does affect people. You're affected a lot less if you're, quote, spiritual but not religious, because you're not actually buying into an institution. It's almost never brought up, and it's almost never actually used in conjunction with decision making or with debating. So, but yeah, you just have to take that into account, I feel. Yeah. Also do what you want to do. Like, yeah, we're not like the moral.
I think it's just a little sad too because
angels.
It's a very important thing not to bring your beliefs, like not to make your beliefs not let your beliefs make up who you are. And it's interesting because Christianity, that's all it is. Like religion, organized religion, and that also, like, their beliefs define them, which is like unhealthy in every way. So,
yeah,
that's another problem. But yeah, I don't really know what else. Like, I think we talked about everything I want to talk about. Do you have anything to add, Neil? We can do like closing statements.
Yeah, let's do closing statements. I mean, I think I just did my closing statement. What I just said, that pretty much summarizes my opinion on the topic. Dylan?
That's all I have to say. Is I guess you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. This is just our take on it.
Yeah, this is what we think.
And I'd like to say anyone that disagrees, I think it'd be interesting to have them on.
Oh yeah. So we have on our website, youthonsubjectsoftheworld.com. There's like a form you can fill out, and so you can fill out that form and you can come on our show. Also, although just to be clear, as a disclaimer, like all of the episodes we have there, like they're not in right order, because like Jim, the producer, he like, the problem is that he hired someone to like do it, and they really screwed up. They were really stupid, and they like put it in a weird order. So I don't think they're in chronological order. But yeah, so please, do that. If you disagree with us, please, you can fill out that form, and you can come on the show, and I mean, we can talk. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a total we can be totally like civil. It's not like you suck and this is why. Like the only reason we're kind of like that on the show is just because of like hyperbole. It's like it's a fun thing for the show. I mean, it's not like we're saying anything we don't believe in. So yeah, we can totally come on and have a civil discussion about it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Humanity has been on an epic journey of discovery, learning the truth about the world we live in. New discoveries about the true origins of humanity, ancient history, free energy, as well as the systematic corruption of world governments are now on the forefront of our daily reality. Is the world headed towards destruction based on control and power? Or is an opportunity now being presented to shift and uplift into a higher consciousness? My name is Mel V, co-founder and creative director of Conscious Consumer Network, an independent broadcast network that was launched on the 1st of January 2015. In the last 3 years, Conscious Consumer Network has broadcast over 2,800 shows in multiple languages, featuring guests from across the world, whilst creating media that is aimed at the creation of a free, fair, peaceful, just, sustainable world. Conscious Consumer Network provides full training and an interactive support network for all broadcasters, and we are always looking for inspiring and educational content.
Hi, this is Lady Liberty.
And this is Mira Siegel.
In 2018, Conscious Consumer Network has expanded to multiple broadcast locations, increasing our availability and reach across the world, remaining on the cutting edge of independent media. If we wish to create a better world, we must first create better media, geared towards real education instead of indoctrination.
You guys really are what changing the world is going to be about. It's educating kids at a grassroots level.
Having become a pillar of stability in the turbulent world of independent media, we have even more going on in 2018. Conscious Consumer Network is a publicly funded network, and we rely on all of you to keep us on the air. Show your support for independent media by donating to our 2018 Network Support Fund. Dare to seek a better world. Support independent media.